Hello, everyone. I hope you're all having a nice day. I'm back to talk about the last two stories we read about, which were Bloodchild and Leaving Miami. So, um, I guess I'll start with Bloodchild. Bloodchild, to me, seemed at first really weird. I was trying really hard to try and follow, but like as I kept going, I understood what was going on. So I was reading one of another classmate's stories, actually her paper, and she was talking about she just like super hyper analyzed the story, and she about how like it was about oppression and like a really messed up system in which humans were basically like the preserve. They were like being used to uh, further advance the alien species. I'm just gonna call them the alien species, the Tlick. And so yeah, she was just super hyper analyzing like what it was and how Gan was so like how it was an illusion to the humans, the Terrans, and how it was just all bad. And I think one thing that she failed to realize was that it did. I mean, the way that I saw it, it wasn't all bad. Like it wasn't all as grim as this classmate put it out to be. It was more like because he. It was more like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do now that we know this? That's where Gon was in the end, and I think she failed to realize or like capture or mention or talk about that little glimpse of like hope that things could change and like you know uh, like ignorance is bliss, but once you know how something works, you work towards changing it. And that's where it seemed to finish off. It didn't seem to like he didn't fully accept it. Like he was like, okay, like I'll commit, I'll do this. But this works both ways. Like you need us most likely as much as we need you. Because it's a mutual relationship. So they have some power. It's not just the Tlick being like the overall ruler. Like the humans, the Terrans have some. They're breeding their species. Like, so that's pretty big. Um, but yeah, that's just one thing that I think she failed to realize that it wasn't all bad towards the end. We saw that Gan put a seed in her about something about. Um, I'm actually gonna look this up real quick. And there is some understanding to some extent. Like I don't think uh, Tiga Toy was completely like a bad person. Like I think she did have some interest, but she also knew like the truth that they didn't know, and so she was kind of like she kind of in a way maybe betrayed him in that way. But the fact that I guess she kind of understood, it seems. I mean, they completely understand, what's going on. That's how I think oppressive nature works. I feel like there was kind of a resolution towards the end, or it was at least like planning a form of planning a solution seed like inside the ending, like inside Tiga Toy, when they're talking about how Tiga Toy says that she thinks that Terran should be protected from seeing, and Gan says no, I think they have to see, I think they should see, so they can see what it's like and what they're gonna have to expect, and I think that's just how, after that you just plant a seed that once they're shown, like things will start mobilizing, as they do in real life. Like we start to build policy and try new things out, and like I'm not saying like they're gonna have healthcare or whatever, but they might, and you never know, like things might get better for them because humans are gonna see like what the heck, like we did not sign up for that, and they're gonna try and just make it the best sort of procedure as possible, I guess. And yeah, he just says it's a private thing. It has always been a private thing. Her tone kept me from insisting that and the knowledge that if she changed her mind, I might be the first public example, but I had planted the thought in her mind. Chances were it would grow and eventually she would experiment. It's a pretty crazy story to think about, like, especially when I read it, like, my classmate's paper, I was just like, whoa. Like, I did not read it this darkly inside my own head, but I guess that's the beauty of perspectives, right? And being in this class, you get to, you know, take other people's perspectives and how they see things, but hers felt just very too grim for me, and I definitely feel like there was a solution towards the end. Or maybe I'm just that, you know, it's just optimism, but yeah, that's just how I felt. I feel like there definitely was a sort of, like, meeting towards the end, towards hopefully something better. So that was Bloodchild, and then the other, Leaving Miami, was a story that I kind of pretty, you know, you can't help but not relating to, especially if you're like Mexican American, Chinese American, or like any other blend of American. Like, you can never help but feeling this way when you're tied between two cultures. I like to call it like you're a hyphenated American, right? And it's just, we live with like a really different world than both, you know, both the country we come into and the country that we came from. Like, we're caught in the middle, and I think it's a very unique and like very cool perspective to have. Not very cool, but like just very, like, I don't know, like just powerful. I feel like it's just, it's like we're the bridge, you know, really, like we're the bridge between like the underdeveloped world and the developed world, and like we see both sides of the story, you know. And yeah, that's just how I felt reading that story. I just felt like I related heavily into it, especially because she's a student and young adult and just living through the world and experiencing things, and she's just talking about her experiences and, you know, those little nuances that she has, going to different environments other than what she's used to, and how she feels about that, how it can make you feel so like weird or like alienated or like different, or, you know, like you don't belong and this and that. And I feel super related to that. It makes me think about the transferring process and how I'm going to transfer, and now I'm like, do I really have to go so far? But I don't know. I mean, it's an education. It's an experience, definitely. And I feel like just to get a good grip of the world and how it works, like, you really do have to travel to different places and different locations around the world so you can really see, like, how it's going on or what's going on, why it's happening, why it might be happening, and just, you can just get it like you're out in the field and you just get a first look, first person experience, and you really see what's going on in the world and what needs to be changed. And I mean, we learn all of that through textbooks, but I think it's different when you finally go and experience it and interact with those environments and locations and people and see what they think, and you just get a whole different, like, level of understanding and appreciation for those people and for the different people around the world. And yeah, that's just how I felt about that. It was a good story, even though it was short. But yeah, that's just how I felt about the readings this week. They were both good readings. I appreciated my classmate's paper that made me think about Bloodchild a bit differently, a bit more grimly, but nonetheless, it's a different perspective, and I think it should be noted. But that's why we're in this class, so we could build upon each other's thoughts and opinions and perspectives and stuff like that. So those are the things that stood out to me. Any lines that I can relate with this? This all reminds me, especially the last one, the last story, Leaving Miami, reminds me a lot. And just like this journey of higher ed and just like trying to make the world a better place or trying to save the world, just reminds me a lot of the Last Airbender. And mastering the elements. Like, you can't just master the elements, like, like at home. You need to go out there and learn it from the people who know it, like the masters. So that's my take on the world, and that's how I relate it to myself personally, and how I look at it. So, yeah, that's about it. I don't really have any lines right now off the bat that I would share, but yeah, I just like Gan and Qui's polarity. That's something else. That was basically like the thesis of the essay that my classmate wrote about, and just how opposite they are, but in the end, like, they come and they clash, and Gan realizes things he hadn't realized before, and he was kind of blind to, one could say. But then once you know the truth, like, you can't help but work towards something better, It's just how it goes. You don't just accept and that's it. I don't think Gan just accepted in the end and just, that was it. I think he wanted to make the situation a little bit better. And so he planted that seed. And that was that. We can only hope that things will get better. And Leaving Miami, any lines that I liked? I wrote down, because I'm actually writing a paper on that one, so I wrote down my favorite quotes. Oh yeah, the wandering spirit is the very thing the children of Cuba, the children of Cuban, what did I write? Basically, it says the wandering spirit is the very thing the children of Cuba were taught to suppress. And I don't think that goes just for Cuba. I think that goes for many cultures. Like, they just want you to stay rooted in your family, and family's first, and family's everything, and that's true. But, like, what if you can make your situation better for your family too? Like, not only for your family, but everyone too, but in the process, your family too, and it's just bigger. Because you realize, like, many of the problems that we face are stemmed from a certain problem or issue, that underlying problem or issue that we can so, like, easily, like, help or mediate or stop or prevent or raise awareness on, and it just make the situation for everybody better. So I think it's, good to not suppress that wandering spirit and to instead explore it. Yeah, and fear is a big thing that holds people back. The Cuban exile trauma has embedded fear, the fear of leaving home, into our very cores. And fear is a very big thing like that. You can't let it get in the way. The world is fresh and conquerable. I think she said that because she was feeling like the girls from the pamphlets, and she like garnered strength from those pamphlets and the girls on those pamphlets. Yeah. I just thought of the when the assistant principal comes into the class and saying that she needs the students to represent this community outside of your bubble. I thought that was kind of weird in a way. Cause sometimes the school process is, system kind of feels like I mean, I get we're feeling, we're trying to, get people to do jobs, but sometimes it just feels so, like, dehumanized, like, like, it feels like we're just a number, or we're just, we're just on the assembly line, coming in, coming out, graduating. So, I don't know, that part of it kind of feels a little dehumanizing, but I know, it shouldn't be that way. And we shouldn't look at, as students, we shouldn't look at it that way either. Like, We're not just another number. I mean, we're not. We're not. We're kind of are, but in some ways, but like, you know, you matter basically, and you should do what you want to do. You shouldn't just, you know, do something because you expected it or this or that. You should try and, you know, embrace your freedom and explore it and see what that means to you. The last notes I wrote here about leaving Miami is life outside of Miami, experiencing the world that is waiting to be experienced, waiting for you to experience it and make your mark on it. Stand your ground, make it better. And that is growth. Spreading her, getting rid of fear and following your gut, or following through with what you want in life. And then I towards the end, like when I was kind of wrapping up my brainstorm, it hit me that it was much more than that. Even like it was, cause she would travel the world and she would talk about how she constantly tried to like fit in with the American crowd and I guess culture, population, or you know, and sort of like suppressing her true nature, where she comes from. And I think it's even more than that too. It's more about like not only not suppressing it, but also spreading your culture and your influence and where you came from on the rest of the world, and not being afraid to do that, because that's part of who you are, and you shouldn't feel the need to suppress that. And yeah, that's about it. This video's gone long enough. I was trying not to make it go long, but here we go again, making it go long again. So I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. I apologize, but this one is in time, so I think it's okay. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Have a nice day. I hope you guys had a good 4th of July weekend, and stay safe out there, and remember to wear a mask. And yeah, okay. Bye. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just kidding. Bye.